Hello there, welcome back to Knitting Together HQ. So we've looked at casting on, knitting with different stitches, and now we're going to look at casting off knitwise. Because Nettie, when we've done our knitting, we're obviously going to want to stop.
That's right,
How
you
do
can't
we?
knit forever. Casting off knitwise is one of the common things, and I'll just show you how that looks. So we've cast on down here, and now we're going to cast off, and it makes a very nice kind of neat edge at the top. You can see this little braiding along here, which also gives it real definition to the finished part of your work.
It's almost like a plait.
It does look a little bit like a plait, you're right. Well, that's what knitting is really, isn't it? Sort of tying up loops of string. So I will show you how to cast off knitwise. So this is a piece of stocking stitch, and we're on the knit side, as you can see here. And casting off, your pattern will tell you whether to cast off knitwise or purlwise. So you basically start off by knitting 2 stitches. We're going to insert the needle from front to back, pick up our yarn and knit the first 2 stitches. 1, 2. And you don't want to be too tight. This is actually where you want to have a little bit of loose tension, and you're going to lift those 2 stitches off, and next you're going to take this loop and lift it over this loop. Okay. So you're casting this loop off, and you'll still have 1 loop left on your needle. So we're going to shimmy up to the tip there and put our left hand needle underneath, and then just lift it over, keeping the other stitch on, and you can use your needles to kind of guide you if you find that helpful. And it's a bit difficult to see at this point, but you've actually cast off 1 stitch. It will become more apparent as we do a few more. Okay. So we just repeat this. So we've knit the next stitch, lifting it off as normal, keeping it nice and loose, and then we bring the first stitch back over it like so. So again, it's another sort of rhythmic process. Knit the next stitch, lifting it off as normal, keeping it nice and loose. Can you see that?
Yes, I can. It is forming that again, that braid, that plait.
So do try and keep your tension a little bit loose, otherwise we might find that our edge is puckering in. So we'll carry on knitting a stitch and then casting off the previous stitch. Knit a stitch.
Does your wool always go anti-clockwise?
It does with knit and purl stitches, yes.
Right.
And we can have a little look at the stitches that I've cast off already. So you can see it makes this very neat edge of a little braid, a little plait, like you said. And you can see that it's not getting too pulled in.
No.
It's kind of the same tension as the rest of the sample of your piece of knitting. So do bear that in mind as you cast off, that you really don't want to be casting off too tightly at all. So knit the stitch as normal, and then lift the other stitch over.
I am so longing to get started. I really am.
So here we go, we're getting near the end now.
I had a bit of a practice.
No.
Yes, and I can remember it's good because you're showing it very, very clearly.
So we're getting to our penultimate stitch, and it is interesting that you know, the less sort of other stitches you have on the needle, the more kind of sort of loose it is, really.
Okay.
So our last stitch is where we're going to do the same thing. So knit the last stitch as you did before.
Yep.
And then take out your needle and then lift the penultimate one. Just, you can see it might be a little bit fiddly there. So you've got your last loop on the needle here, and you're just going to pull that out. Don't worry. To give yourself enough for another tail so that you can then tidy up your ends afterwards. We've just snipped the yarn, and so now we're going to put the loop, the end of the yarn, through the loop.
From front to back.
Yep. And we're just going to keep the loop over this side as though it's on the left-hand needle still. And we're just going to pull it carefully because you want to make a nice little square corner.
Ah!
If you pull it really tightly, you might sort of bunch it up at
Yes, and
the
it
end.
would round itself
Exactly,
in an ugly way.
exactly. So we've got a nice, neat corner there to finish our piece of knitting neat enough.
Thank you, Nettie. Thank you for joining us. If you'd like to know more, have more access to even more tutorials and downloads, just visit let'sknit.co.uk/together or pick up the phone 0800 904 7000. See you soon.